In every video I've seen, welding seems very easy and straightforward. Why is school required? Is there more to it they are not showing? There's lots of technique involved as well as different types of equipment. It's also not just one type of metal you weld, and different metals behave differently, that's my understanding at least. Connecting two pieces of metal is very easy. Connecting two pieces of metal in a way that can withstand incredible force for years and pass regulatory and safety requirements is very hard. This is why tons of folks are getting into watch repair as a hobby, YT vids. It's a 2-3 year schooling for pros. In welding, a lot of it is high confidence work. Having a diploma cert helps employers know you know what to do. Pipeline welders get their welds x-rayed and there's no second chances. To make something difficult look simple is a definition of skill. Pressing buttons on a piano is easy. I've heard that there are a lot of ways to mess it up in such a way that it looks fine, but falls apart under pressure. I've seen similar stuff with soldering electronics, where a YouTuber will have a video which makes it look easy to non-experts, but anyone who actually went to school for electronics knows that the connection is brittle. An accidental bridge will short out the circuit, they cooked a transistor to death, etc. Putting down weld on a flat piece of metal on a workbench is pretty easy. But real welding jobs are basically never that simple. For starters, you have different kinds of joint which require different settings. You can have different material thicknesses, in the worst case very thin to very thick, in which case the thin metal will melt away before the thick metal is even hot enough to weld. Different alloys which have different requirements. What might be fine for one type of steel might not work at all on another. Welding upside down or behind obstacles or limited access in general. Welding anything structural means you have to know that weld is solid. Two welds can be identical to the eye, but one can be only a fraction as strong as the other. And that's just off the top of my head as someone with very little experience welding. To be a real pro, you have to be able to look at a situation and judge, based on the size, shape, and type of material, what type of weld will be best, how best to set up the machine and which materials to use, and how to actually apply that weld properly. And finally, be 100% confident that your work is solid and people can trust their lives to it for years to come. It looks easy because it's a skilled person doing it. If you want to excel from any skill, you need to learn the techniques from experts. Same goes for welding or any other skill. I've tried welding. Turns out I suck at it. You know how NBA players make shooting free throws look easy? Same precedent. Welding helmets are for pussies. It is easy to weld two pieces of metal together. It takes lots of experience to do it well and correctly. Uphill, overhead pipe. School is a way of cutting down the enormous amount of time it takes to become very good at it. I am the maintenance department manager of a big industrial plant. Imagine that whatever vehicle you use for transportation was welded together by someone who was winging it. Airplane, light rail, automobile, God forbid high-speed rail. Imagine a joint of two different types of metal that need to be treated in as particular way, or a high-stress point requiring a very precise weld thickness, no gaps, essentially perfection. Or imagine a pipeline casting natural gas crossing the country, a highly flammable, explosive, and toxic substance move at a high rate of speed and at high pressure. Note, imagine in both of these instances that a weld fails because the welder lacks knowledge and skill. Lives are lost. Environment is destroyed. Welding is a technical trade that requires meticulous care, knowledge of material, and specialized training. B-class welders deal with very dangerous substances in pipelines. They have an even higher skill level. Even a bicycle has welds. Once learned, a skilled welder makes their craft look effortless. That's because they know their shit. It's easy once you know how to do it. Learning how to do it and practicing enough to maintain proficiency is the hard part, just like most things. Because they tend not to show the videos where they fuck up? Well, maybe you'll see videos where things blow up or someone gets hurt, which should definitely make you understand why school is necessary. Try it and see, lol, it's difficult, and they have had years of practice. That is why it looks easy. I was married to a welder for 20 years hard work. I took a welding class in college. It was stressed that the goal of the course was to make us proficient at understanding and inspecting welds, because of course there's no way you could learn all the practical skills in just one semester. Welding aluminum sheet with oxyacetylene was definitely an eye-opener. So, some of the ways that welding can go wrong: you can get insufficient penetration. That won't always be visibly obvious and can lead to break along the weld bead. You can overheat the base metal and ruin its temper, causing it to break just a little ways from the weld bead. This is visible but not obvious if you don't know to look for it. It can be indicated by strong discoloration on the base metal extending too far from the weld bead. You can simply weld in a way that doesn't meet the structural demands of the piece. Direction and length of weld are crucial, and over-welding can lead to problem too. There's more I'm not thinking of too. I'm just okay at welding, although pretty badly out of practice lately, so I'm sure there's some issues I don't even know about too. And there are obvious stuff that just isn't obvious how much of a problem it's going to be if you haven't done it. You are going to, at least once, completely miss the weld seam. To make something difficult look easy is a skill from your lips to God's ear. Common sense in and of itself is very uncommon.